Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the next session of PST class. So, we were doing chapter 2, the form of organization from the NCRT book, and under it, we had covered the topic joint stock company. So, we learned that joint stock company is an artificial person created by law, having perpetual succession and a common seal. We learned that in joint stock company, the shareholders, that is the investors, are different from the management is in the hands of the board of directors, and the investors in the company, the owners of the company, are the shareholders. We also learned that the capital of the company is divided into smaller parts called as shares, and these shares are freely transferable. So, students, today we are going to move ahead and we are going to discuss the types of companies that are permitted in India under private sector. So, Bacha, you already know that India is a mixed economy where there is a government sector, there is a public sector, and there is a private sector. And we so far have been discussing the forms of organization under private sector. So, do not confuse yourself. I repeat again, under private sector, what are the different types of companies that can be formed? We learned that today. So, in private sector, there are three forms of companies that can be created. First is a private company, second is a public company, and third is a one person company. So, in this video, we'll be talking about what is a private company. Alright, so let's learn what's a private company. See, as per the Companies Act 2013, it says a private company is a company which has minimum 2 members and maximum number of members that can be there are 200, excluding the employees, those who are the shareholders of the company. I repeat, minimum 2 shareholders and maximum number of shareholders that can be there in a private company are 200. These shareholders will not include any employees of the company to whom company has allotted shares. It so happens that at times that company as a reward may allot some shares to its employees. So those employees are not included in the counting of the shareholders as far as the private company is concerned. Secondly, in a private company, the shares cannot be transferred freely. There is a restriction on the transfer of shares. Now, why? Because it might happen that it violates the condition of 200 shareholders. For example, Mr. X is a shareholder of a company, Ambika Private Limited. So the company already has 200 shareholders. Mr. X has invested around 10,000 shares in the company. He is in need of money and he wants to sell out his shares. So Mr. X could not find a single buyer for his shares and he thought of selling his shares to different people. So he found out 10 different people who would be buying his 10,000 shares in separate lots. So one person thought of buying 500, the other thought maybe 2,000, the other thought 5,000, so like that. So he said that I'll sell out my shares to 10 different people. Now this means the number of the shareholders in a company is going to rise from 200 to 209 because Mr. X is going to leave the company. Now this is going to violate the condition of a private company as per Companies Act 2013. So the right to transfer the shares in a private company can be restricted if the need arises. The another important thing is that in a private company you cannot offer your shares to the public in general. So we said that when we were taking up joint stock companies, that in a joint stock company the company floats out its issue in the market. It can sell out its shares to the people in the market, but in case of a private company that is not possible. So whom are you going to sell your shares? This is the next question. So in a private company, it's a very private affair, that is between the family members, your relatives, the people those who are closely associated with you. So you can request your spouse to take your shares of your company, you can request your siblings to take the shares of your company, you can tell your children to take the shares or buy the shares of the company, or could be your close relatives, could be your friends, those who are going to buy the shares of the company. The shares of the company will not be floated in the market for the general public to buy. Another thing, The minimum paid up capital in case of a private company is 1 lakh of rupees. So to start a private company, the minimum capital that is required is 1 lakh of rupees. So bache, if question comes what's a private company, then please write down that in a private company, as per Companies Act 2013, a company which has minimum to maximum 200 members has a minimum paid up capital of rupees 1 lakh. The company which restricts the right to transfer the shares and which prohibits the invitation to the public to subscribe for the shares and the debentures or the public deposits of the company is called a private company. Now, I would like to add on here that it is very important that if you're starting up a private company to use the word private limited at the end of your name. So like I said, I gave an example of Ambika Private Limited. So it shows that the company is a private company. There are many private companies operating in India like Flipkart, you have Ola and Book My Show, etc. So just check out the names, just check out the details on it, and you'll get to know that these are private limited companies. Thank you.